Sunday, April 21. Companionship. Question. Read Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through to 12. What's the basic idea here? What principle of life is it talking about in general? Ecclesiastes chapter 4, beginning at verse 9. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labour. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he who has no one to help him up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Very few of us can make it alone. Even if we are loners and like being alone, sooner or later we not only want some companionship, but we might even require it, especially in times of need. We were indeed made for community, for fellowship. How fortunate are those who have close family members who can give comfort and support, especially in times of need. Unfortunately, there are people in our church, where we work, in the communities where we live, who have no one to turn to, not just in their time of need, but even for some conversation at the end of the day. The sense of loneliness can come at any time. The hardest day for me, an unmarried man said, is Sunday. During the week, I am surrounded by people at work. On Sabbath, I see people at church. But on Sunday, I am all alone. Question. What principles can we all learn from the following passages, particularly when we may be going through a time of loneliness? John chapter 16, verses 32 and 33. Indeed, the hour is coming, yes, has now come, that you will be scattered, each to his own, and will leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. And Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 to 13. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. Yes, as Christians, we have not only the reality of God, but the reality of being able to fellowship with God, and we can indeed draw comfort from the closeness of God to us. But the closeness of God to Adam in Eden didn't stop the Lord from saying, "It is not good that man should be alone," in Genesis 2:18. Thus, God knew that Adam, even when he had fellowship with God in a world damaged by sin, still needed human companionship. How much more, then, do the rest of us need companionship as well? We need to be careful, too, of assuming that just because there are a lot of people around, a person cannot be lonely. Some of the loneliest people live in big cities, where they often have interactions with others. Just being around other bodies doesn't mean someone cannot feel alone and alienated and in need of fellowship. So to finish the day, it's not always easy to know who is feeling lonely, alienated, rejected, or who is just plain hurting and in need of someone, if nothing else, just to talk to. How can you proactively seek to be more sensitive to whomever those people might be? You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.